PDAS system, and they do have to follow that 10-day guideline. Let's say you disagree with what takes place in your observation or a walkthrough visit. You have 10 days to rebut anything that they have given you in writing and make sure that your comments and your notes have been shown also. So within those 10 days, it could be lengthened to 15 if the appraiser chooses to do so. My recommendation would be to make sure that you're following that 10-day timeline and you're not relying on a bonus 5 days. If you don't like the comments or the things that are done for your formal observation, you also have an opportunity to ask for a second appraiser. You must do that in writing. And again, you need to do that within 10 working days after you receive all of your documentation back. The second appraiser could be another principal within your district, or it could be someone from a neighboring district who is also a PDAS certified instructor. Let's talk about the summative annual report. At least 5 days prior to you having the summative annual conference, you will receive a copy of the summative annual report. This report will be the same form that is used for the observation summary form, but will have all blanks filled out and will include domains 1 through 8. When you get this information, it allows you an opportunity to go through and study the information you've been given and raise any questions or comments that you have, so that when you go to the conference, you're fully prepared to discuss everything that you have received in your written comments. You will have to have your summative annual report at least 15 days prior to the last day of instruction. Again, on your local appraisal calendar, it should reflect exactly which day that will be. This will include, again, your observation summary, any walkthrough documentation, as well as any third-party or teacher information. Third-party information might be comments from a parent, comments from a conference that you have presented for, any kind of thing. It could be positive, or it could possibly be some negative comments that have been shared with the administrator that will be used in your conference. Again, if something like this is going to take place, they have 10 days from the date that they are made aware of the situation in which to let you know that they've received some kind of documentation. I'll just give you a good example. Let's say that every Tuesday you do a Take-Home Tuesday folder, and you send notices to your parents to let them know all the things that are taking place in your classroom. As you do this, you type up just minutes about each thing, but you tend to have typos. You have spelling mistakes, possibly some grammar. You may have a parent who chooses to correct all of your grammar, save it together, take it up, and share it with the principal and raise questions or concerns about the fact that you are teaching their child. So just keep in mind, it might be a good idea to partner with someone, allow them to proofread any of the things that you're sending home, and just take a moment to really put thought into each thing that you are sending home so that this is not a concern for you. Also, your completed teacher self-report will be a part of that summative conference information. So make sure that your section 1, 2, and 3 are thorough, yet brief enough to let your points be made known, but you're not filling them with the dissertation or thesis information. The summative conference has to take place no later than 15 days prior to the last day of instruction. Also, it can be waived by you, the classroom teacher. It cannot be waived by the administrator. If the appraiser is not the administrator on campus, then typically the appraiser, the principal, and the teacher will meet together during this conference time to discuss these things. This appraisal timeline is very important because typically if there are any kind of appeal processes, this tends to be the appeal that is won by the teacher. So I would make sure that you're following that local appraisal timeline calendar and that you keep a copy of this appraisal timeline for your reference. Let's move straight into the domains and talk about what the domains are and what they cover. Domain 1 deals with active, successful student participation in the learning process. And what this entails is how active are the students in each of the things in which they're teaching. For example, I'm looking at, are they engaged in learning? Are they successful in learning? Is there critical thinking and problem solving apparent in your classroom? Are they self-directed? And are you as the teacher making sure that you're connecting the learning that's taking place to things that they're going to do in future grades as well as what they're going to do throughout life? Domain number 2 is learner-centered instruction. This deals with goals and objectives. Hopefully, after 45 minutes in your classroom, I would know exactly what your goal and objective for the lesson that I've just witnessed might be. Also, again, is it learner-centered? Are you involving the critical thinking and problem-solving skills that we should be? Some of you may have forgotten Bloom's taxonomy, but we're still going to focus on that and make sure that we're getting to those upper levels and not just focusing on knowledge and comprehension. Are there motivational strategies? Some of you right now probably aren't very motivated as you're watching this video, but it's important to make sure that we do try to do the best that we can do as far as motivating them. And I'm thinking you guys are way ahead of the people who had to spend 6 hours going through the same process. The alignment, what you're doing to align your curriculum, the instruction, and the assessment measures that you're using is also taken into account throughout this domain too. The pacing and sequencing of your lesson, as well as the value and importance, the appropriate questioning, and your use of technology. This is a new one for us. Typically, we do the orientation live in person, so we are trying to utilize our technology to make it more effective for each of you. Domain 3 is evaluation and feedback on student progress. And what this entails is making sure that you're monitoring and assessing. You're walking around the classroom to make sure that as students are doing independent practice activities, you are able to look at and make decisions about whether or not the students have gained all of the skills necessary to complete any of the activities that they're doing.